What if one of the greatest love stories in Hollywood history wasn't finished after all? What if, decades later, the characters who defined romance for an entire generation finally returned to tell the rest of their story? That's exactly what's happening now, because Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are back, and the Pretty Woman 2 trailer proves that their timeless chemistry is still as magical as ever. Fans waited 36 years for this moment, and the trailer teases a sequel filled with nostalgia, romance, and a new chapter that feels both familiar and fresh. Asterisk, when Pretty Woman first hit theaters in 1990, no one could have predicted the cultural wave it would create. It wasn't just another romantic comedy, it became a global phenomenon, a film that redefined what a love story on screen could be. Julia Roberts, with her dazzling smile and natural charm, instantly won the hearts of audiences worldwide. Richard Gere, with his calm presence and subtle vulnerability, became the perfect opposite to her fiery energy. Together, they formed a duo that didn't just act out romance, they embodied it. The story of Vivian, a woman struggling to find her place in the world, and Edward, a wealthy businessman who learns that love isn't about money or status, became more than just a script, it became a modern fairy tale. The movie showed us that love can break boundaries, that two people from completely different worlds could still find something real and lasting. And that message stuck with fans for over 3 decades. Even today, people revisit Pretty Woman, not just for the laughs and the iconic lines, but for the emotional connection it creates. Scenes like the opera night, the bathtub sing-along, and, of course, the unforgettable necklace snap are etched into cinema history. These weren't just movie moments. They were cultural touchstones that continued to be referenced, remixed, and remembered. But what made Pretty Woman truly special wasn't only the romance, it was the idea of transformation. Vivian's journey, from being dismissed by society to finding self-worth and respect, resonated with countless viewers. Edward's transformation from a cold businessman to a man willing to take risks for love showed that even the most guarded hearts can change. This combination of personal growth and heartfelt love created a movie that went beyond being a rom-com. It became a timeless lesson in believing in second chances. Now, after all these years, the announcement of Pretty Woman 2 has reignited that excitement. Fans aren't just curious about what happens next in the story, they're emotionally invested. In seeing Vivian and Edward again, the trailer doesn't just feel like a sequel. It feels like an emotional reunion, not only for the characters, but also for the audience, who grew up with them. The reason this sequel matters so much is because the original film wasn't just entertainment, it was a defining part of movie culture in the 90s. It launched Julia Roberts into superstardom, cemented Richard Gere as a romantic lead, and gave us a love story that still holds up in 2026. That's why seeing the two of them together again in the trailer sends chills down the spine. It's not just about picking up where they left off. It's about revisiting a story that shaped an era, asking what love looks like after so much time has passed. The legacy of Pretty Woman is powerful because it reminds people of hope. No matter how messy life gets, no matter how different two people may seem, love has the power to transform. That's the spirit this sequel is bringing back. And the trailer makes it clear, this isn't just a cash grab or a nostalgia act. It's a continuation of one of the most iconic love stories in cinema history. So when Roberts and Gere appear side by side again, it's more than just two actors returning. It's the return of a dream, a fairy tale, and a reminder that love stories can last forever. That's why the trailer has fans buzzing, and that's why the legacy of Pretty Woman makes the sequel feel so important today. Asterisk. The trailer for Pretty Woman 2 doesn't waste a single second. From the very first frame, it reminds us why this story has lasted in people's hearts for more than 3 decades. The opening shot is simple yet powerful, a city skyline at dusk, with the sound of bustling traffic below. But then, in a quiet moment, we see her Vivian, played once again by Julia Roberts, walking confidently down a crowded street. It's a mirror of the film's iconic beginning, but now there's a different energy in her stride. She's not the young woman trying to figure out who she is anymore. She's grown. Stronger and unapologetically herself. That first glimpse sets the tone. This isn't a rehash of the old story. It's a continuation. Then, the trailer cuts to Edward. Richard Gere's return is equally striking. He appears in a boardroom, surrounded by younger executives. But unlike in the first film, there's no sense of arrogance in his presence. His voiceover speaks volumes. Sometimes life doesn't give you just one chance. It gives you the chance to begin again. This line doesn't just tease Edward's storyline, it hints at the heart of the sequel, a story about second chances. Not only in love, but in life itself. One of the standout moments in the trailer is a direct callback to the original. Vivian is seen at a high society gala, wearing a sleek modern gown. As she walks in, heads turn, just as they did when she entered the opera in the first film. But this time, it's not about transformation, it's about presence. Vivian owns the room because she knows who she is. The trailer cleverly shows us that she no longer needs Edward to rescue her. Instead, they stand as equals, partners, in a love that has evolved. And then comes the moment that broke the internet, the necklace scene. In the original, it was playful, a moment of surprise that turned into pure magic. In the new trailer, Edward opens a jewelry box again, but this time, instead of snapping it shut, he gently hands it to Vivian. She smiles knowingly, a nod too. The past, but with a deeper layer of intimacy. It's not about games anymore, it's about understanding. That single callback, just a few seconds long, became the highlight of the trailer and one of the most talked about moments online. Another powerful sequence shows Vivian standing in front of a theater marquee, the same opera house they once visited. Only now, she's the one buying the tickets. Edward joins her, and the two exchange a quiet look that speaks louder than words. Fans have speculated this scene could symbolize how their relationship has shifted. She's not the woman being introduced to a new world anymore. She's the one leading the way. The trailer also introduces new faces, hinting at fresh challenges. A younger business rival, seen clashing with Edward in tense boardroom scenes, suggests that Edward's old life is catching up with him. Meanwhile, a scene with Vivian speaking to a younger woman struggling with her own self-worth suggests that Vivian might step into the role of mentor, offering the guidance she never had. These glimpses suggest that Pretty Woman 2 isn't just about reliving the past. It's about passing on lessons, growth, and inspiration to a new generation. But perhaps the most emotional part of the trailer comes near the end. Vivian and Edward are seen standing on a balcony, overlooking the city lights, almost as if they've come full circle. Edward's voiceover says, "Love isn't about where you start, it's about who you choose to walk with." The trailer fades to black as the two clasp hands, leaving audiences with goosebumps. It's a simple image, yet one that perfectly captures the essence of the sequel. Overall, the trailer is a masterclass in balancing nostalgia with freshness. It honors the past with iconic callbacks, the skyline, the jewelry, the glamorous gowns, but it also plants seeds for a deeper, more mature story. Instead of relying only on fairy tale charm, it teases a narrative about enduring love, personal growth, and finding beauty in second chances. And that's why fans haven't stopped talking about it since its release. Asterisk. If the first Pretty Woman was about the thrill of unexpected romance, the sequel makes it clear that this chapter is about something far more profound. What happens when love survives the test of time? The trailer doesn't just tease old flames, it shows us a relationship that has matured, it's deepened, and transformed in ways audiences have long hoped to see. The chemistry between Julia Roberts and Richard Gere is unmistakable the moment they appear together on screen. Even in the brief seconds the trailer gives us, their connection feels lived in, like two people who have weathered storms and still find comfort in each other's presence. Robert's Vivian no longer carries the uncertainty she once did. Instead, she radiates confidence. She speaks with purpose, laughs without hesitation, and carries herself as a woman who has built her own life. Gere's Edward, meanwhile, seems softer than before. The once guarded businessman now has a look of quiet vulnerability, as though time has taught him what really matters. One of the most striking moments in the trailer shows the two walking through a park, surrounded by autumn leaves. They aren't dressed in glamorous outfits. There are no crowds watching. It's just the two of them, sharing a simple walk. Vivian turns to Edward and says, "We've both changed, but maybe that's what makes us work." It's a line that feels like the heart of the movie. Love that survives isn't about staying the same, but about growing together. The trailer also suggests that the sequel won't shy away from conflict. Love stories, after all, aren't fairy tales without obstacles. In one brief but emotional clip, Edward is shown looking distant, staring out of a high-rise window as Vivian asks, "Are you still chasing the life you promised you'd leave behind?" That single question brings the weight of their history crashing back. Has Edward truly changed? Or does the lure of power still pull at him? The tension here feels grounded and real, because long-term love isn't about ignoring flaws, but facing them at the same time. Vivian's role in the relationship has clearly shifted. Where she once had to adapt to Edward's world, the trailer shows Edward stepping into hers. A quick scene flashes of Vivian at an art gallery, passionately, speaking about creativity and empowerment, while Edward listens quietly in the background. It's a reversal of their dynamic in the original, and it highlights how their love has evolved into partnership rather than dependency. But beyond the conflicts and the power shifts, the trailer's emotional punch comes from its quiet, tender moments. One shot shows Vivian resting her head on Edward's shoulder as they ride in a car at night, city lights blurring in the background. There's no dialogue, just music swelling in the background. But the image says everything, that after all these years, the safest place for her is still by his side, thematically. The sequel seems determined to show that love is not only about passion and grand gestures, it's about endurance. The trailer echoes this message in multiple ways. The callbacks to the original necklace and opera scenes aren't just nostalgia. They're reminders of where the couple started, contrasted with how far they've come. In one particularly emotional clip, Vivian tells Edward, "It was never about saving meat, it was about us saving each other." That single line reframes the entire first film and gives deeper meaning to their journey. Another layer hinted in the trailer is the idea of love as legacy. A brief montage shows Vivian speaking to a younger woman, perhaps someone going through struggles similar to what she once faced. The way Edward looks at her in that moment speaks volumes. His admiration isn't for her beauty or charm, but for the strength and wisdom she has gained. The trailer suggests that the story isn't just about rekindling their romance, but about showing how love can inspire and empower beyond the couple themselves. And then, the trailer saves its most powerful moment for last. Vivian and Edward are seen standing at the rooftop of a hotel, the city skyline behind them, a quiet echo of their unforgettable limo scene from the first movie. Edward looks at her and says, "I thought I loved you then, but it's nothing compared to now." Vivian smiles, a mix of disbelief and joy before taking his hand. The screen cuts to black, leaving viewers with a lump in their throats. It's clear that the sequel isn't just selling romance, it's offering a meditation on lasting love. It's about what happens when the fairy tale doesn't end it happily ever after, but continues into real life, with all its flaws, doubts, and beauty. And that's exactly why fans are so captivated. Pretty Woman 2 isn't promising just a reunion, it's promising a deeper love story. One that feels more honest, more earned, and more powerful than ever. Asterisk, the moment the Pretty Woman 2 trailer dropped, the internet lit up like a fireworks show. Fans who grew up with the original rushed online to share their excitement, while a new generation discovered the magic of Julia Roberts and Richard Gere for the very first time. It wasn't just a trailer release, it felt like a cultural event. Within hours, hashtags like #PrettyWoman2 and #Roberts and Gere were trending worldwide. On social media, people posted side-by-side comparisons of the new trailer moments with the classic scenes from 1990, pointing out every callback, every subtle nod, and every emotional beat. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. 30 years later, Julia's smile still makes the world stop. Another fan wrote, "Richard Gere, opening that jewelry box again. I cried harder than I thought I would." TikTok edits began flooding timelines, with younger audiences splicing scenes from the trailer into montages of romantic movie classics. almost as if Roberts and Gere were teaching this new generation what true on-screen chemistry looks like. What makes this comeback so powerful isn't just the nostalgia. It's the way it bridges time. People who saw Pretty Woman in theaters as teenagers are now parents or even grandparents, sharing the trailer with their children, saying, "This was our love story." And now, those same children are falling in love with Vivian and Edward's journey too. In an age where movies often come and go quickly, Pretty Woman 2 has managed to do something rare: unite different generations under one story. But fans aren't just emotional, they're also curious. The trailer teases enough to spark theories, and online discussions have exploded with speculation. Who is the younger woman Vivian mentors? Is she a mirror of Vivian's past? Someone who will carry the legacy of her journey? Will Edward finally walk away from the ruthless corporate world once and for all? And perhaps the most debated question, will the sequel give fans the emotional closure they've waited decades for? The reactions also highlight how deeply audiences connect with Roberts and Gere together. Hollywood reunions are common, but this one feels different. The trailer reminded everyone why their pairing was iconic to begin with: the warmth in their eyes, the unspoken comfort in their body language, and the way their voices blend seamlessly in dialogue. Critics have already called their return a once-in-a-generation cinematic reunion. Entertainment magazines describe the trailer as pure magic bottled into 3 minutes. Fans simply call it the love story we never stopped believing in. What's equally interesting is how this comeback has reignited conversations about Hollywood love stories in general. In recent years, romantic comedies have often been dismissed as predictable or outdated. But Pretty Woman 2 is proving that audiences are still hungry for heartfelt romance, especially when it's told with honesty, maturity, and emotional depth. Fans are saying things like, "This is the kind of love story we've been missing, raw and timeless." The return of Julia Roberts and Richard Gere also carries weight beyond the movie itself. It's a reminder of what stardom used to mean in Hollywood. Roberts' radiant charm and Gere's understated elegance belonged to a generation of actors who didn't just play characters, they became symbols of an era. Watching them reunite in 2026 feels like watching Hollywood itself come full circle. It's honoring its past while stepping into the present. And then there's the simple truth. This is more than just a film comeback, it's a celebration of resilience. Both the characters and the actors embody the idea that love, talent, and passion don't fade with time. The trailer's final moments, showing Vivian and Edward clasping hands against the backdrop of the city, have become the most screenshotted and shared image online. Fans caption it with phrases like, "Love never dies," and "worth the wait." So when people talk about Pretty Woman 2, they aren't just talking about a movie, they're talking about an experience. A chance to relive one of the most iconic romances in cinema, to feel the rush of nostalgia, to witness a love story that dares to continue in a world where fairy tales usually end too soon. For fans everywhere, this isn't just the comeback of Vivian and Edward, it's the comeback of hope. It's the comeback of timeless romance, and the comeback of a story that was never really finished. And now, with the trailer leaving millions breathless, one question remains. If just 3 minutes of Roberts and Gere together again can stir this much emotion, what will happen when the full story finally unfolds on the big screen?